In tonight's UpFront segment, a closer look at crime in the city of Detroit. Join us to talk more about this most important subject to residents is Chief James Craig. Chief, thanks for being here with us tonight. And let's begin with the challenges of reducing crime and having to deal with several recent incidents of gun violence in your city.
Well, Dave and Glenda, I'm glad to be here tonight. You've probably heard me say, you know, in the heels of COVID and certainly the weeks and weeks of protests, and it's not isolated to Detroit. All of the major cities across this country have seen a tremendous uptick in violence, particularly in non-fatal shootings and homicides. Overall, our crime is down 12%. And I'm talking about property and violent crime. But there are a lot of factors involved that are driving violence. I mean, certainly I have to talk about COVID and the impact that's had, early releases, but also bail reform. You know, one thing that I am so proud of the men and women of the Detroit Police Department who go out each and every day, faced with high-risk situations. We're arresting anywhere between 80 to 130 individuals illegally carrying weapons. Now, the good news, our Wayne County prosecutor is certainly filing charges on many of those cases, but what happens next is where it becomes problematic, where those who have had criminal histories, felons who are carrying weapons, are released back into our community.
Right. And in fact,
an impact.
And in fact, in many cases, you're rearresting those same people with those weapons.
Absolutely, and we're tracking this very closely. And I get that because of COVID, you know, the courts are not operating in the manner they wish. But what about the safety to the members of our community? There are so many guns in the street right now. I'm talking about illegal guns. But the men and women in this department are still engaged, still out, working very hard to create safe communities. So I'm encouraged.
Today, a group from Detroit Will Breathe protested outside the 4th Precinct. 3 people claim they were victims of police brutality at a gathering on September 26th. I know there's a lawsuit here. What's the process of following up on these allegations? Is there an investigation? Who's conducting it?
Well, let me just say this, Dave. We investigate all allegations of misconduct. I don't have, I didn't watch their press conference. I don't give a lot of traction to Detroit Can't Breathe, to be candid. However, if any allegations are made to this department, we take them seriously, we investigate them. And many of the investigations that have been protest related over the many, many weeks, some of the complainants are just not coming forward. But we take them serious, we investigate them, we're vigorous with it, and so we move on. But I don't give a whole lot of credibility with Detroit Can't Breathe, particularly what we dealt with over the prior weeks with false stories, false narratives. We all know about Hakeem Littleton. Let's not forget about that.
Right.
The fact that they put out a false narrative that was trying to incite violence in our city. Had it not been for the video we released, we refuted it.
Right. Now, this is the group, though, that has called for your resignation.
Well, my response has been and continues to be, most of their members are from out of the city. They can go back home. I'm staying, they can leave. And I think I speak for so many Detroiters, not just Detroiters, but Metro Detroiters, who have said, we don't want you to leave, Chief, but they can leave. So they should just go home, protest in their own community.
Let's finish with community policing, the role of officers working with the community in neighborhoods and the difference you feel that makes in the city of Detroit.
We're the hallmark in this country. I'm gonna say it. You know, we have great relationship with Detroiters, our community members. And I would tell you, when people ask the single question, why didn't Detroit burn? And you know why it didn't burn? Because our community stood with us, they stood by us, they were on the ground with us. And when the outside agitators tried to incite violence, they said, not here in Detroit. And that's the difference. That's community policing. That's called relationship, and that's called a trust-based relationship.
And that's something that's important each and every day, right?
It's institutionalized in the Detroit Police Department. We didn't start this work because something bad happened. Mm-hmm. This is part of what's institutionalized in this great police department.
Chief Craig, thank you. We're glad you're well. looking good, and appreciate your time tonight.
Hey, thank you, Glenda and Dave. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Chief. Pink uniform on you, I see, in
yeah.
honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So good to see you, Chief. Thank you.